I didn't just wake up one day and decided I was going to transform my life. Most of the big shift that has happened in my life actually happened when things started falling apart. It was in the moment where I felt embarrassed, ashamed, rejected, even unsafe. And I didn't have language for it at the time. I just knew something had changed and I just couldn't stay there anymore. And one of those times where I've just done a day's work. I had this regular client that I had at the time, and I normally would leave an hour before them. And I would just say a pleasantry, pack up my things, and we'll say hi. And the final words to me is, "See you tomorrow." And I would reply my back, and it was always the phrase, "see you tomorrow," like kind of like then and another line. Made my way, went onto the tunnel underground, and then as I was leaving the underground to now change platform to an overground train, my phone just kept beeping, like do 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 do. All this notification, do 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 do. I'm like, oh, okay, and like looked at it, and it was work, job cancellation that I have for them for the next 2 months, like regular, like daily thing. I was just like do 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 do, like just constant. And I just thought it was a computer glitch or a problem with the agency or whatever it is. So I called them up. I'm like, okay, notification. Like what's going on? Oh yeah, they said they don't want you anymore. And so they've actually cancelled from tomorrow till when and I'm there like like they what? And I just had this like chill come over me as a shock of like, what? And it was still, I got off the phone and notification was still coming. I'm like, well, exactly. I was speechless. I just could not comprehend. Like, I just, there and I just, what? It wasn't even, I wasn't angry. I was just shocked at the time. I just could not comprehend what I was just seeing. And the anxiety of this was in a season of when like it was like a down flow of work because it was like a holiday season and things wasn't like I could just like get it and I wasn't with like so many places that I could say okay, um if anything cancel it whatever I would have opportunity I was rarely registered with most places, so it was just the shock of the whole thing. And in that moment, I realized that I could not give my safety to outside body. I I just had this like, oh my gosh, like, what are we gonna like all this thing like like yeah, happened at that time. And that realization is like, I can't allow this to happen again. Like to feel like this. And that's when I knew that I had to do something. I had to start initially working on just feeling safe in myself, feeling safe in how I was doing and showing up. So I had to start doing things to regulate. I used the Chimer app to start putting in hourly reminders of like, Nene, where's your focus at? What you doing? Like doing like speaking and trying to find, okay, what do I need to do to start getting myself out there, regulating, not giving meaning to what this might look like. What do I then want? So I started doing the work that would start helping me just regulate and be okay. And I even started like adding when I would catch myself or when things would happen, I would just be like, huh, like, and I'll be like, celebrate that I did that, and like I'm getting better, I'm like on this, and it was just that momentum of this is what we I needed to do to get me out of this feeling, to get me out of this situation of whatever that is. And because of like all those things I was doing, all those repetition of like, okay, the phone would sound, and I'll be like, okay, is it like, okay, what we focusing on? Like asking my question, what we like, whatever that is, or just smiling, or like I just was just going and doing stuff to just support me. That over time, it just started being okay, and started doing stuff to start making me feel safe to the point that I started feeling safe, and things were then showing up to make me feel safe. And when you look at like that, I just knew that that was like my moment at a time to be like, yeah, that's what it took for me to just feel that faith. And and this is the thing, like for me is like the realization of, okay, this is this, and then what that gets to look like. And knowing that the shift that happened for me and what I got to do, the mundane repetition and the work, to the point of where that I just got to this place of like, yes, I got this on check now. I regulated myself, and all these things are happening. And that's for me is the beauty of that, doing the work to get to that point. And it's having that knowing and realization that, huh, it does take time, but the shift for me happens in this event, in this thing, and who I have become in the process of doing those things that would get me to that point of that realization of that, my goodness, look at what I've done. Look at who I have been in this process is such, you know, to me that, yeah, it's so powerful. And it's in those moments, it's in those actions, and it's in doing the work for me that I find that it's the clicking. This is what it gets to look like. This is what it feels like to then be in this space, to then be in this in this moment. And yeah, it's having that realization that, okay, okay, this shift and what that gets to look like. Yes. Where there been moments or like having that understanding that whatever that like feeling of, okay, this is what has happened, the shift now, taking the time to go through what that gets to look like, finding mentors, getting the accountability, doing this, doing that, to then get us to that transformation place. Then for me, that's kind of like how I been able to get to that point of, huh, we're cool now. Oh my goodness. We do this every single day. Nana here, um, w- having the realization of like what, as we build on this identity for ourselves, how do we get to becoming stuff and things we talk about here? So remember that your voice matters, and it's your time to use it. Bye for now.